Good morning. What you hopefully just experienced was a moment of joy. I want you to feel it, let this energy sink in, take a deep breath, and hold on to this feeling. Think about it. What did you see? What did you feel? What did you hear? Did it make you smile, laugh, or feel lighter in any way? Were you confused? Maybe it reminded you of a time where you felt free, or someone who brings you joy. Maybe it even made you remember a memory, a celebration, your own pet, or even a simple moment where you were present and felt it. Hello and welcome. We are YRUU, or Young Religious Unitarian Universalists, and we are honored to lead the service this morning around the concept of joy. You're probably wondering why a bunch of teenagers are leading worship today. We only do this once a year, but we are excited to bring the ideas and perspectives of joy to the wider congregation. Thank you for being here today, whether in person or online. If you're watching online, please introduce yourself in the chat, and if you are new to us, you are welcome to fill out the survey at uuaa.org/newcomer survey so we can better connect with you. For anyone in the sanctuary who is new or may be wondering if this congregation is for you, we have an in-person newcomer welcome immediately after the service in the Redmond room, right outside those doors in the first room on your left. There's a sign and friendly folks there to help answer and share a bit more about who we are and what Unitarian Universalism is. And one more joyful announcement: join us for cake in the social hall after service today to celebrate Reverend Theresa's 5th anniversary of her ordination. There's also pictures, flowers, and a card-making station. Thank you, and let us gather for worship.
In elementary school, I remember sitting right over there by the piano every Sunday morning. I sat with my parents, my older brother, and my Grandma Lois, and my other Grandma Lois. I loved the part of service where we lit the chalice every week, and I remember being extra excited when it was my age group's turn to light the chalice. We stood in a very crooked line to the left of the chancel here, as our advisors stood behind us and we passed the lighter down. Being Unitarians and loving equality as we do, each of us had to hold the lighter, even when there were so many people up here that we had to stand in 2 lines. And then we had to pass the flame back and forth, and the advisors and everybody in the congregation would get very nervous every time the flame got a little too close to someone's hair. Fortunately, we never burnt the building down, or nobody got hurt. So now I invite Hava to competently light the chalice this morning. If you're watching the live stream, I invite you to light your own chalice and to type in the chat where you're lighting it from. Will you please join me as we say, "We light this chalice for the light of truth. We light this chalice for the warmth of love. We light this chalice for the energy of action. We light this chalice for the harmony of peace." Thank you, Hava. On this day where we gather together in a special way, I'm reminded of the Unitarian Universalist source of pluralism. As a part of this community, we show up to lend a helping hand for each other, search for our own truths, and fight for each other's rights. We promise this to each other in many ways, and one of these is the covenant. So will you please join me as we say together, "The spirit of this church is love, and service is its law. This is our covenant with each other, to dwell together in peace, to search for truth and love, and to help one another." Now please rise in body or spirit for Blue Boat Home number 1064.
That number again is 1064 in the teal hymnal, 1064 Blue Boat Home. I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in a beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Thank you. You may be seated.
And now we have our Time for All Ages. Today's story is called Kevin the Unicorn. It's not all rainbows. Everyone knows unicorns are perfect. They bring glitter and happiness to everything around them. Their smiles alone make rainbows appear. When you're a unicorn, every day is filled with magical awesomeness. That is how it was for Kevin, until the morning he woke up on the floor. This had never happened before. Something felt different. Something was different, but Kevin knew just what to do. Keep it happy, he reminded himself. With an extra big smile, Kevin set out for a glittery and fantastic day. Sure, his day had started off on the wrong hoof, but Kevin was positive he could turn it around. However, things did not go as planned. By the time he got to town, Kevin felt a little more frazzled. He'd never had a less than perfect morning. Keep it happy, Kevin told himself. Maybe a glitter soda would get his day back on track? Holy hooves! The line was long, but Kevin was sure it would move quickly. It didn't, though, and by the time he got to the front, they were all out of glitter soda. Keep it happy, he said to himself. Hey, friend, don't worry, I'm gonna set you up with a free clam juice. Have a sparkly day. Kevin kept a smile on his face even though his insides didn't feel smiley at all. Bump, sploosh. Oh, sorry, are you okay? Totally, feeling happy and fantastic, just like always. Who doesn't want to smell like the ocean? Kevin continued on his way. Wow, that's a lot of birds. Syrup is very sticky. Oh, cupcakes. Happy birthday, Andrew. These puppies are so cute. Kevin could no longer hide what he was really feeling. Today is not awesome or fantastic, and it is definitely not sparkly. It's horrible. This is a really horrible, lousy, awful day. I'm having a bad day too. There's clam juice on my favorite shirt. This has been stuck on my horn for a week, and I've been pretending it's not even there. There's glitter in my eye. There's glitter in both my eyes. It turns out unicorns don't always have perfect, magical days. And that's okay. The end. So that ends our time for all ages. And now I invite all of our elementary school kids to follow their adult leaders out of the sanctuary as the congregation sings with love and tenderness.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Find. Hi, my name is Molly, and today I'm going to be talking about finding joy. The way that one of the ways that I have found joy in my life is through a little store that some of you may know. It's called IKEA. It's this super underground, tiny little shop. I don't know, you might not know it. It's really underground. But I love IKEA, like a lot. And when I was a little kid, my mom used to take me and my sister and my dad out to IKEA, and we used to make a whole day trip out of it, because the closest one is 45 minutes away, and it's in Canton. And when you have two small children who are both really, really annoying, that's kind of a long drive in a minivan. So my mom always, she took us there for a good 5 or 6 hours. And in that 5 or 6 hours, we would drop my little sister off at the little, kids' play place. And my mom and my dad and I would go through the whole showroom. and I would jump on every bed. I would put my feet on every single couch. Yes, my shoes were still on. And I would try to cook in every single kitchen, even though my head did not reach the top of the stove. I could not see, I was fumbling around in the dark. It was terrible. But we would go through the entire showroom, and then we'd make it to the Swedish restaurant, and my mom would let me get whatever I wanted, and I would completely pig out on chicken tenders and Swedish meatballs, and it was phenomenal. I had the time of my life. Every, 3 to 6 months, we would go, and I would be over the moon. Now, basically, when we went to IKEA, food was kind of the only thing that we ever got. We never really bought any of the IKEA furniture when we went to IKEA, which seems counterproductive, but trust, we had a vision. But that didn't really matter very much to me, or I think to my mom. I don't know, ask her. Because the point of going to the IKEA wasn't to buy the furniture. It wasn't about the furniture. It was about spending time together as a family, doing something that I enjoyed, and watching me happy would make my parents happy. So, sorry. So, the important part is that we were finding joy in something that was immaterial. Even though we were going to a store that was, you're supposed to buy stuff, we were finding joy in immaterial things like spending time with each other and, just hanging out together as a family, minus my sister, because, we don't have to talk about that. It's okay. But we would find joy in being together rather than in the actual material objects, and that stuck with me throughout the rest of my whole life. So, moral of the story, pay attention and appreciate the small joys that you find in life, and find joy in small things in life on purpose, and that will stick with you through many hard times, and it will be comforting, and looking back on those things will make you a lot happier the second time than it did the first.
Each week, we have the opportunity to participate in the spiritual practice of generosity, one of Unitarian Universalists' values. I hope you will feel this is a joyful opportunity, a chance to make a difference in the programs and ministries of this congregation, a chance to make a difference in the community and in the world. There are many ways that you can give. You can text UUAA to 73256. You can give online at uuaa.org/giving, or you can put cash or checks into the baskets. I now invite the ushers to come forward as our offering will be gratefully given and received. Thank you, Josh. I now invite our ushers to come forward, and if you would rise in body or in spirit and join me in saying the words we use to dedicate our offering. Let us say together, to this work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives, and these are our offerings. Thank you. You may be seated. Recognize.
Recognizing joy can be a difficult practice. What does it mean to recognize joy? Hi again, my name is Maggie, and I'm a junior in high school. As high schoolers, my friends and I find ourselves driving around a lot, sometimes for fun, sometimes to pass time, and sometimes to actually go places. My friend Callie and I always drive around a lot. We listen to music, some of which is pretty obscure, like I Always Wanted a Brother from the Mufasa movie, which for some reason we have a weird fixation on. But no matter where we are going, what songs we are listening to, or how we are feeling, we find these moments, and in these moments, nothing matters. We drive around all the time, like I said. There was this one time, there was this bomb threat at our school, and without hesitation, we left. Callie had just gotten her license and bought her car maybe a week prior. So we walked really fast to her car and did what we do now the most and just sit in her car and hang out. And even though this was a scary time, because there was in fact a bomb threat, we just were having fun because we were with each other and doing what she likes to call mom lore, making memories. That to me is joy. It's not about my own joy that I'm feeling, but it's the recognition of the joy in our shared experiences. It's the joy in each other's company, in the laughter, and just being able to be together. Joy often isn't something that we plan. It happens in the simplest moments, the ones we don't anticipate, the ones that sneak up on us in the middle of an ordinary day. But when we recognize them, when we hold on to them, we remind ourselves that joy is always there, just waiting for us to notice it. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite everybody to rise in body or in spirit for Lift Every Voice and Sing, also known as the National African American Anthem.
That hymn can be found in the gray hymnal, number 149. In the gray hymnal, number 149. Lift every voice and sing. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let all rejoicing rise, high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our Father sighed. We have come over
has been watered. We have come, treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past, till we stand at last, where the white gleam of a bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the fight, come to the ever in the path we pray, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land. Thank you. Please be seated.
Create. Slump by S.T. Tuchin. Can you appreciate the silence when the world goes quiet? Can you admire the darkness when the light of light burns out? What does it mean when the things you love fade away, when what you once adored brings nothing? Is there joy to find in nothingness? When joy just isn't there to find or to recognize, how do you make it? How do you create an emotion? These are some of the ways that we did.
The pandemic hit midway through my 7th grade year. I already hadn't been doing great, but suddenly I was quarantined at home, too. I tried to stay interested in schoolwork, going on walks, backyard badminton, playing ukulele with my dad. I emailed my friends, checked my phone to see if they'd replied, checked again, even before I'd heard any buzzing in my pocket. But despite all this, I found myself getting up later, going to bed earlier, sometimes sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. Sensing this change, both my parents and I were eager to find some fun activity to keep me occupied. In previous years, I had loved helping my neighbors arrange their fairy garden, but with social distancing, I couldn't create one with them that year. So, I decided to make my own fairy houses, out of the large collection of Legos that I loved playing with when I was younger. The fairy village started off small, with just a couple buildings, but each time I noticed how little kids gazed at it and smiled when they walked past our house, I wanted to build more. Gradually, I built new infrastructure for the Lego Fairy Garden, such as a school, a concert venue, a restaurant, a hospital, and even an outhouse. I named it Harbrookia, started making a website for it, and posted an AODL summer game code by it. I enjoyed making it, the neighborhood enjoyed seeing it, and my mom enjoyed seeing the younger and cuter children who skipped by with their parents and stopped to look at the fairy village. I loved the process of designing the Lego buildings and arranging the village, but even more so, I enjoyed seeing it bring others joy. I had taken the dull life of the pandemic and created joy within it by considering what had brought joy in the past and finding new ways to replicate it.
One Sunday night, when I got off a plane from New York City and was walking the jetway to go back home, I booked another Broadway ticket for that Thursday night. My family had been there to see 3 Broadway shows, and I had fallen in love with one of them. I wasn't done with the experience, and I wanted to see Romeo and Juliet again. It was an incredible production that had 2 of my favorite actors in the lead roles. It took Shakespeare and reinterpreted it into a modern retelling, incorporating dancing and auto-tuned music, running up and down the aisles, and changing the tone of the lines to have completely new meanings. I didn't know yet where I would stay or what exactly I would do when I went back in just 4 days, but I knew that I was going. I spent the next few days researching flights and places to stay. I got so excited when I figured out I had enough airline miles to get there. And when I stepped off the plane back into the city on Wednesday night, I immediately went to the stage door of the show. I was hoping to get my book signed by one of the cast members. I had already been to the stage door 3 times on my previous trip with no luck, so I was hopeful but not super optimistic. But it worked. I got my book signed, and I was full of joy as I rode the subway to the cheap hostel I ended up booking. The next day, I wandered around New York until it was time to see the show I had come all the way back to see again. It was even better the second time. So good, in fact, that I ended up waking up at 5 a.m. the next morning when I normally wake up closer to noon to sit outside the theater for 4 hours in the freezing cold to try to get a ticket to see it for a 3rd time. I got the last seated ticket, and that Friday night, I saw the show again. I created so much joy for myself by being a little spontaneous, a little ridiculous, and taking my first solo trip to do something that I love.
A few weeks ago, we hosted a youth con here called Continuum, with capitalized letters for the con and the UU. Cons used to be very popular, but in recent years, they've dwindled in both strength and number. They're weekend-long events by youth for youth, with the intention of building relationships and creating a safe space. Stella talked about it briefly a few services ago, but I wanted to give you all the perspective of a youth. It was amazing. On Saturday evening, on the second night, some of the other youth led a worship. We sat in a circle in Jackson Chapel and were handed a pencil and a piece of paper. On this paper, we wrote down a statement that we wanted to share with the group. They were put in a basket, mixed up, and handed out again. The lights were dimmed and the papers were read out by candlelight by someone in the group, and if a statement applied to you, you said, "That's me." Many of the statements reflected something along the lines of, "I feel alone," "I worry about how I'm perceived," "I don't like the way that I look." It was a stark reminder that everyone is always hurting. We all have insecurities, worries, deadlines, problems, and struggles. For me, senior year has been the best year of high school by far. My teachers at school have been absolutely incredible. I got to work on theater shows with my best friends. I applied to colleges and got into my first choice school. So I haven't had to worry about college admissions since December. I made so many new friends. I connected with some of the underclassmen and the middle schoolers. I reconnected with some of the upperclassmen and people in my grade, and I've just generally had a fun and rewarding year. But I know that this won't last. Soon I'll have to struggle through making friends again, living away from home, getting a sustainable job, and all of the other responsibilities that come with adulthood. Which is why it's so important to relish the joy while it's here. If you're in a good chapter of life right now, Set yourself up for success by building the habits while you have the energy and the motivation. Find what brings you joy and lean into it. Hold on as tight as you possibly can because you never know what the next week will bring. I'd like you all to participate in an exercise with me. We're going to practice finding, recognizing, and creating joy. I'm going to give you a prompt that relates to each one. I'll give you some time to think of an answer, and then I'll invite you to speak out loud your answer as one big group in a large chorus. If you're watching the live stream, feel free to write your answers down in the chat, or you can speak it out loud with your voice and make noise in the room where you are. All right, so first, take a look around and spot one thing in the room that brings you joy. Look at the people around you, down at your clothing, up at the building's architecture. One person or item that brings you joy. It doesn't have to be big, it could be the smallest, most insignificant thing in the world, but it still puts a smile on your face. All right, now on the count of 3, we're all gonna say it out loud, okay? 1, 2, 3. This is the find. You didn't plan for that joy to be there, it just happened to cross your path. What about earlier this morning? What is one moment from before this church service that brought you joy? What did you eat for breakfast? Did you see a cute squirrel on your drive here? I know it's early, but I guarantee you there's something for everybody. Take a minute to think of something now. All right, now on the count of 3, we're gonna say it out loud again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. This is the recognize. Those experiences have already happened, and you're acknowledging the joy that they brought you. Maybe just thinking about it again put a smile on your face, and you've created another joyful moment for yourself. Now I invite you to come up with one thing that you're going to do or going to experience during the rest of this day. It could be something that you already have planned. It could be cake in the social hall, going on a walk, it's a really nice day out, or doing that one stressful task that you've been procrastinating for a month, but taking the 5 minutes now will be such a relief. All right, take a moment now to come up with that. All right, again on the count of 3, we'll share them. 1, 2, 3. Listen to that, all that joy bouncing around this room. That's amazing. This is the create. You've made an intentional decision to feel good, and you'll do that by creating a moment for yourself during the rest of this day. In fact, here's another example of the create. You showed up to church this morning. When you decided to join this congregation, you made an intentional choice to find a loving, open-minded community where you believed that you would blossom and grow. No one forced you to come here to congregate this morning, and yet you're still here. I'd like to leave you all with a quote from my English teacher, Dr. Mark Randolph. Right here, right now, I'm being happy. Thank you.
Before we end today's service, we have one last thing to say. Our 4 advisors, JJ, Ash, Spencer, and Dan, have been absolutely incredible this whole year. They're all wonderful, creative people who support our crazy ideas while making sure the building doesn't burn down and calling the fire department when we accidentally set off the fire alarms. May you now go in peace and find, recognize, and create joy in your lives.